Hello and welcome to the preview for the Manchester United and Newcastle game. I've got three guests here to discuss the game coming up on Wednesday. And the big hot topic is Angel Di Maria and his performances of late. It was a bit of a bold decision for Louis van Gaal to take him off in that last game against Sunderland, but obviously he wasn't performing very well. How do you see Di Maria? Angel? I mean, it wasn't really his best performance, but it was quite a bold decision for Louis van Gaal to take him off. Do you think he's going to start this game, or do you see him on the bench maybe for this one? Maybe he could bring him on, because Januzaj did do quite well in that game.
I see Di Maria being dropped for this game. I think Januzaj, when he came on, he played well. You know, he did better than Di Maria. Di Maria was awful, and that's why I think it's justified that Van Gaal took him off at half-time. I think it's just one of them bad games for Di Maria, really awful. But, you know, it doesn't really help him the way we're playing, to be honest, because he's having to sacrifice his talent to suit our little passing sideways, backwards game, or the philosophy. But I think, you know, maybe rest Di Maria against Newcastle, drop him for the game, and then bring him back against the Gunners. And yeah, hopefully we'll beat the Gunners with Di Maria getting a goal against Arsenal too.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think maybe it is time just to give him maybe a game rest or so. Just see how it does. Maybe bring him off the bench. Kevin, do you think it may be the fact that he has played a few positions this season? He hasn't really got a run in a set position, and with the formation keeps changing, it hasn't really helped. I know he has come under a lot of criticism though, but I don't know if it's completely fair, because he's not the only one that hasn't performed this season. Obviously Falcao and a few others haven't, but Januzaj did a bit better in this game, I thought, and maybe now he could be given a chance just for this game and see how it goes.
I mean, yeah, you've got to say that one of the main factors, I suppose, is that he's been moved around all over the pitch. 1 minute he's playing central midfield, 1 minute he's out on the left, 1 minute he's out on the right, 1 minute he's playing up front, 1 minute he's a central attacker midfielder. Van Gaal hasn't seemed to be able to find the right position for his formation. We all know where he played last season in central midfield, where he arguably had the best season of his entire life for Real Madrid. Although we can't forget he was playing for what was the best team in Europe and the best team in the world last season in Real Madrid, so playing with lots of Ronaldo, Bale, Benzema, Modric, etc. around him. And he's come to United, he's playing around a misfiring Falcao, misfiring Van Persie. Rooney has been a striker and bloody midfielder now. He's become the main man at United, whereas at Madrid he wasn't the main man, and that's why he left. But he wasn't the main man. Not all eyes were on him. But United, he's wearing the number 7 shirt. He's the main United man after, you know, costing 59.7 million or whatever it was. I'm not quite sure why it hasn't clicked. He seems a frustrated player at the moment for me when I see him. It doesn't look like at the beginning of the season he was so happy to be here. You know, it just looked like he was loving every minute of his game, and now it just looks like it's frustration building up. And Van Gaal taking off at halftime, although I suppose it was for the better of the team, wouldn't have helped his confidence and his patience whatsoever. I don't think he'll be dropped. I think that's too. We can't be dropping Di Maria, surely not. I just think he'll get there, but I think we need to give him time and just play him in one position. For me, left side of central midfield, just play him there, give him the ball, let him attack, let him be free, rather than just playing him all over the pitch, which we have done. But he's a world-class player, there's no doubt about it. He's just hit a bad patch. He must be still adapting to life in the UK, I suppose. That's what I can see it. Not too worried.
Yeah, it does. Sometimes it takes a bit longer for other players. I don't know if you've got any other thoughts, Joey, on this. It's a bit difficult to know what's happened with him. I mean, he was so good last season, but obviously he has had a dip in form. Every player does have a dip in form, but it doesn't really help when he's played in numerous positions this season. Doesn't really got settled into the team really in a set position. I don't know how you see it with the formations that he's chopped and changed the formations a bit, which maybe hasn't really helped him at all, has it?
No, but at the same time, he's not the only one not performing. You got two strikers who've been playing up front, Falcao and Van Persie, who, hadn't had a lot of movement to create space for Di Maria to let Di Maria do his thing. He's been put out wide the last couple games, and he hasn't played out wide in a long time. This is a guy, he won the European Championship last year, and then he went right from there to the World Cup. He didn't get to play in the World Cup final, which his team lost. I'm sure, he's had a lot of ups and downs mentally. Then all of a sudden, a team like Real Madrid says, you're not worth this much money, even though you were man of the match in the Champions League final. We sold you, where you want to go? And he really only had United as a choice financially, but he comes here. He started off well. He started off great. I mean, he's still got second in the league in assists, so it's not been as bad as everybody's saying it is. We just have come to expect a shit ton more because it's because of the fee and because of the history of this player. But the guy gets his house robbed, and he got an injury in December. He's been played up top. He's had so much going on around him that he hasn't really gotten to settle in, I don't think. We know he's quality. You don't just, like Wayne Rooney said, you don't just lose quality overnight. He's a good player. Me personally, I want him in my team. He's in the midfield 3 because I want to put him where he's played the best football of his career, regardless of who was around him. When he's at Real Madrid, he played in the midfield 3, and he was fantastic, creating chances, and almost I want him in a free role. Let him do what he wants. Give him minimal defensive responsibility, and let him do his thing. Let him be creative. But I don't think he should be dropped. He's honestly, you look at these next 8 games we have, and there's some tough games in there, and he's going to be vital to us winning these games. So I think we need to just give him, a pat on the back, Louis van Gaal, get his confidence going. So it's not a bad thing that Januzaj came in and did well. I'd rather have more players, doing well than not doing well. So if we can get Januzaj firing with Ashley Young doing well on the other side and get Di Maria going, and we get into some form, our players get into some form and get some consistency going, I think we're going to be fine for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's definitely better to have a few players in a few positions that can step in and fight for each other's places to keep players on their toes. How do you really see this game going, Jay? I mean, it's not going to be an easy game. I don't know where you see Newcastle posing a threat. I mean, they beat a poor Aston Villa team last time out. I think a couple of weeks ago they got spanked against Manchester City. What was it, 5-0? So, I mean, they're quite an inconsistent team, really. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, they beat Chelsea earlier on in the season. I mean, when they were unbeaten, I mean, it's difficult to know what you're going to get from Newcastle. I mean, they've got some decent players, but I don't know what players you see are going to cause the most threat from them. From us, we beat them quite easily there last season, didn't we?
Yeah. We got our revenge like last year. They beat us at home, and then we got our revenge against them. When they came to Old Trafford on Boxing Day, they were really, really poor. Granted, we took advantage of it, and people were saying that it wasn't that United that were good. It was Newcastle who were poor, and they were right because Newcastle just rolled over in that game and gave it to us. They don't have a manager, so I think there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding them. Obviously, their fans will be up for the game because they like to play us. And with our away form, you just don't know how it's going to be. I mean, I think, we're obviously going to try and control the game, but it could be a wide open game. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out. Obviously, Cisse is the big threat on their team. So, I don't know. I think we should win this game. I'm not going to say it's going to be comfortable or it's going to be easy because I don't think it's going to be like that. But, if we want to be in the top 4, this is a game you got to win. So, I mean, a draw here would be absolutely disastrous.
Yeah, it certainly would be disastrous. Cisse, he plays some games, and some games he's on the bench, so we'll have to see. I don't know how you see it going, Kevin. What sort of lineup would you go with to beat these? I mean, it's going to be a difficult sort of game away from home. We haven't played well. I don't know how you'd go about beating this Newcastle team because some games they've been great, and other games they've been absolutely shocking. When we played them last time, they were absolutely shocking, and that was the only reason really we beat them. We didn't beat them because we were great, did we? I mean, but I don't know what sort of team you'd go for to beat them, really.
I think if we go to Newcastle, we've got to take definitely a positive team, a team similar to the team we played against Sunderland on the weekend, I suppose. Our away form has been abysmal. It's been the what my notes saying here, the ninth worst away form in the league at the moment. We've picked up 16 points from possible 39. We've only won 3 on the road. We've lost 3, but we've drawn a massive 7 away games out of 13. And that's what it seems to be. Van Gaal, for me, it seems to pick teams away from home that just that are there not to lose. Not necessarily there to win, not necessarily there, to lose, but we're there just not to lose. Leave there with a point, and that's fine. We scored 16 and conceded 16 away from home. It's just with Newcastle. I mean, they're just a variable. They're sometimes they'll play well, sometimes they'll play poor. Like mentioned before, sometimes they beat City, and sometimes not City, Chelsea rather. And then they just lose at home. They're so unpredictable. But I think Newcastle are there for the taking. They're not really doing much. Cisse is their goal scorer. I mean, if you make any mistakes, and he's bound to be in the right place at the right time and just tuck into the back of the net. The only other threat I see from them is maybe Musa Sissoko. He's pretty good in midfield, pulling the strings there, getting the ball forward, etc. But I think if you go about our game properly, if you put in an attacking lineup, something along the lines of De Gea in goal. I want to say Raphael, but I don't even consider him a United player anymore. I just don't know where he's gone. So I suppose Valencia, bit of Smalling, bit of Rojo, bit of Shaw. Hopefully he's had his little nap and he's recuperated from his tiredness. Blind holding, Herrera right centre mid, Di Maria left centre mid, Mate in the hole, and Falcao and Rooney up top. Or maybe even James Wilson, because Falcao, he didn't look too great against Sunderland, although he brought in that, had that amazing touch, and I'm sure he would have put in the net perhaps before he was pulled down by O'Shea or West Brown, as the referee saw it as. So yeah, I'd go with Wilson and Rooney up top. I just want to see an attacking lineup because he just seems to be so negative and boring away from home. Van Gaal's playing it very, very safe away from home. I can understand why he's doing it, but we've got to pick up these 3 points wherever we can because we've got really big games against teams around us, and Newcastle aren't anywhere near us. I think they're sitting 11th in the table. So we've got to pick up these 3 points and stop dropping points like we did at Upton Park.
Yeah, definitely. The away form has been terrible. But as you said there, that's way too many away draws that we've had. Some of them games, like Aston Villa away and Stoke away, where we've just had 1-1 draws, which would just really cost us a lot of points. And under Sir Alex Ferguson, we'd usually pick up wins in them games where we've drawn, which would have put us a lot closer up the table. Angel, I don't know if you've got a similar sort of lineup for this game. I think we really need to go quite attackive, really. I mean, Southampton and Chelsea have actually conceded less, but I think it's away from home. We just haven't scored enough goals, which is where I think it's cost us. Because, as Kevin's saying there, the stats show that we've hardly scored any away goals, which I think's been the bit of the problem this season.
Unlike Joey and Kevin, I've decided to drop Di Maria. I think maybe just maybe give him a rest. He didn't have a great performance. I mean, he was poor against Sunderland, but drop him, give him a rest. And play Januzaj. I'll play Januzaj and Young on the wings. Blind and Herrera in midfield. I think they work well as a unit. I'm not very people are saying, they can't wait till Carrick comes back, but, I'm not a major fan of Carrick. In my opinion, I think Blind does a better job, and he can do so much more than Carrick. He's much more mobile. He likes to attack as well. He scores goals. He gets, he's got 2 goals this season, I think. He's much more attacking than Carrick. But yeah, anyway, in the defense, I've gone Valencia, because I don't think Raphael's going to play for Man United again, unfortunately. I've heard he's got 3 Brazilian clubs are interested in him, but that's the papers, isn't it? Papers, printing, whatnot, media. But Smalling and Rojo in centre-back pairings, and Luke Shaw left-back. Obviously, David De Gea in goal, he picks himself. And the attack, I've gone with Rooney and Falcao. I was disappointed to see Falcao come off for Fellaini, because I'm pretty sure that having West Brown sent off, Falcao would have, there was no one there to mark him anymore. So I guess I thought he was going to score, and that touch, that was a magnificent touch. I mean, I think it's the greatest thing he's done all season, to be honest. Well, magnificent touch. Yeah. Newcastle, the opposition, they're just to elaborate on what Kevin and Joey said, very inconsistent team. They win 5 in a row and then they lose 5 in a row. At the moment, they're on a losing streak. Yeah, they're a very inconsistent team, but I'm pretty sure their head coach, as you call it, John Carver, is going to get them fired up for, the big boys from Manchester coming to town. But yeah, Newcastle, inconsistent team. They've got a couple threats. Ayoze Perez is one to watch for our defense. Yeah, he's quite quick. He's a little one. Cisse, if he starts, he might get a goal. I think he did get a goal in reverse fixture. I think it was a penalty. We won that 3-1. But then again, Newcastle rolled over for us. I mean, yeah, they just came and just were like, all right, let's just have a go. That's about it. Musa Sissoko, he's a very powerful midfielder. If we need to win the midfield battle, he's blending her in the midfield, make sure that they win the midfield battle. Yeah, Musa Sissoko is a strong player as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't really mind seeing Di Maria dropped. I mean, if he starts, I don't mind either. I'm in two minds of whether he should play, because obviously Januzaj didn't do too bad the other day. But yeah, I would pretty much go for a sort of similar team to what you had. I would hope to see Luke Shaw come back in after apparently he was being rested, but it really does look like Raphael is obviously not going to be at the club much longer. So a lot of the players now starting to pick themselves. I don't know. Maybe James Wilson could come in for Falcao. I'm not too sure. I don't know if you, Joey, I think you've got a slightly different team of you to this. I don't know.
Yep.
You'd like to go with a different formation, I think.
I'm going 4-3-3. David De Gea, Valencia, Smalling, Rojo, Shaw. Not a big fan of Raphael, so I really don't care if he does play another game. That's just my opinion. And to show that Brazilian clubs are probably the only ones interested says everything you need to know right there. And that's the sad thing. A lot of our players are leaving, and there's not anybody interested, and that's where the club has gone. We haven't had real quality players these last couple of years. So in the midfield, I put Blind, Herrera, and Di Maria. It could be a triangle facing down or up. It doesn't matter. I think Di Maria thrived at Real Madrid in the midfield three with little to none defensive responsibility, so I'd like to see him there creating. And up top, it's young Rooney, Januzaj. I know they're not having anything cool like BBC, but whatever. I think Rooney is just the best striker at the club because he's the most mobile. He's the best finisher, I think, with both feet. Well, maybe not the best finisher, but right now he is. But on reputation, Falcao should be miles ahead of our strikers, and he's just not. He had that great touch, but other than that, he was woeful that game. It was another poor performance by him. Ashley Young put in a few good crosses, and he was nowhere to be found. He should have been on the other end of them, but he was nowhere to be found. It's just not working out for the guy. I don't know. I wouldn't have taken, speaking on the last game, I wouldn't have put Fellaini on for him, but I would have put somebody else on for him even after the touch. He just wasn't getting it done. And there's no guarantee that he would have scored that one-on-one with the keeper because we've seen him one-on-one with the keeper or had a ball slid across to him, and he's completely whiffed and he's completely missed the target. So there is no guarantee. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great touch, but any striker playing for Manchester United should be able to make that touch. That's just my thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, for the amount of money we paid for him. But yeah, obviously I would definitely have Wayne Rooney as the main striker at the moment. I mean, he still has a decent amount of goals considering he's played a vast majority of the games in midfield this season, and he's been pretty consistent over the years. He's now scored at least 10 goals, Premier League goals in 11 consecutive seasons, and no other player's actually done that. So, although he doesn't always hit the 20 to 25 league goals a season, he's still got a fair few every season. So he doesn't do too bad considering he's not your out-and-out goal scorer as such. I don't know really how you see this game going, Kevin. I mean, I don't really personally see that many goals in this game. Probably sort of maybe I would go for more sort of a 2-1 scoreline in this game. I don't know, unless obviously Newcastle, a bad Newcastle shows up, which we've got to really hope and pray happens, because even though the away games that we've actually won this season, we've had a real decent away performance yet. So I don't know how you see it going.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 as well, just because I think that if we score, they're bound to score as well, especially away from home. You know, being with us scoring 16 and the away teams, no, the home team scoring 16 when we're away from home. You know, when we could see we scored 2, so I think it's gonna be a very very tight affair. More boring than tight. I haven't been, very excited by anything United have done this season. I think the most excited I got was maybe the City game away from home. That was pretty good. We lost that. Maybe the late goal at West Brom where we drew. It's just been poor all round. It's been really dull. Newcastle, I don't think they're going to offer much. John Carver likes to have these free games. The infamous free game he did against Man City where they lost 5-0. Really inexperienced lad. The Geordies aren't too happy with him anyway. Newcastle haven't hit any sort of heights. But again, it's Manchester United. These teams below us seem to always find the extra yard, the extra mile, and something to turn into the Real Madrid of this world against us. Again, our biggest enemy will be ourselves. I just hope that United can get their heads together and just get the 3 points, because we really, really need to do so. Liverpool are in fantastic form. I think best form in the league for the past 6 games. Arsenal have hit some fantastic form also. Spurs have got a game in hand on us, below us. There's teams there, and they're going to be picking up points, and we have to be doing the same, because if we're dropping points against the teams much lower than us in the table, it's going to put extra pressure on matches against Chelsea, against City, against Arsenal, Liverpool, etc. So just make it easy on themselves, to be honest, because it's only going to get tougher from here on out.
Yeah, I think this is a real must-win game. I don't know, what do you see, Angel? Do you see it being a type sort of 2-1 or maybe 3-1, sort of maybe a lucky sort of score?
I think it's going to be a very tight affair. We're away from home. Newcastle, one of them teams, they're not a big team, so, the players are not going to be all up for it. I'm going to go with a 1-0 just because I think it's going to be tight. I don't think Newcastle will score. I don't really think Manchester United will score, but, I'm just going to go with Man United. We need the 3 points anyway. I just want the 3 points, to be honest, and just get 3 points on the board. We've got 8 tough games, We've got to see these as cup finals. We've got to go in like that. We've got to win every game, try our best and win every game, in my opinion. And, the Scouts are knocking on the door as well, on the top 4 places as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would be happy with any sort of victory, even if it's an offside goal or whatever it is. I'd be happy with that. But I've got a feeling we'll probably concede. I wouldn't be surprised if this game ended sort of 1-1 or something. To be honest, I don't know how you see it going, Joey. It's going to be tight, but we've got the ability to win it, but it could also go against us. But it's a must-win game.
Well, last time I predicted the score right, so you can go to the bank with this one. And I'm going to say it's going to be another 3-1. It's going to be another 3-1 for us. There's no way in hell we're losing this game.
Okay.
If you want to be in the top 4, you win this game. If not, I think, a lot of people are freaking out because our next, fixtures are against the big guns. But me and Dan were talking, other than MK Dons, we've lost all the games we've lost have been by 1 goal. So those games could have easily been draws or wins. You look at the City game and Southampton at home. We've been in every single game. So that's why I'm not worried. Louis Van Gaal is a big game manager, and I'm not worried about it. I think all year he's been trying to get our team to play a controlled style of attacking football, and it hasn't worked out for one reason or the other. Maybe it's his team selection. It's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of this. It's a little bit of that. But when we come up against those big teams, I think we should be able to control those games, and that's what we want. We don't want to have to, sit back and try and take it from Liverpool and then hit them on the break. We want to dominate the entire game. And I think that's what it's about, is teaching this team how to dominate games and not just, squeak away with a win. Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah, well, as you said there, that 3-1 last time, I was really annoyed because Phil Jones gave away a sloppy penalty. Otherwise, it would have been 3-0 because they were awful. And
He's a garbage player, and hopefully after this summer we won't have to see him too much.
Yeah. I think that's about all we've got to talk about, really. I don't know, Joe, if you've got anything to say on that giveaway you're giving before we finish
No,
up.
the details will be in the next, we'll do the Arsenal preview, so stay tuned for that. There'll be another giveaway. It'll be something nice this time.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think that's all the thoughts we've got on the game against Newcastle. So, thanks to everyone for watching the preview. Let us know your score predictions and your team formations and team lineups in the comment section below. And we'll be back on Wednesday to discuss how the game went.